everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is a really exciting video because I'm gonna be showing you 3 easy meals that you can make if you're on a carnivore or a keto diet. And thank you so much to Tastee for sending me their Smart Cook air fryer. We're gonna be using this today to prepare our meals. First thing I wanna do is I just wanna talk about this air fryer and all the great features that I found with it. So first things first, what you receive when you get this air fryer is you get, of course, the air fryer itself, and then it comes with the user manual and this great cookbook with a bunch of recipes that you can try. What you also get is not only do you get the air fryer, but you get this really great cooking rack that makes it so easy. You can just cook multiple things at a time, get more flavor in what you're cooking. What I first noticed just when I picked up this air fryer is how light it is. I mean, guys, no effort at all to lift this air fryer. You guys already know, sometimes you get an air fryer and it's so heavy that you just never want to move it anywhere and you just keep it on your counter. And what I love about this is I just easily picked it up. And take a look at this. There is a place to actually put your hand so it's easier for you to pick up. I know there's some air fryers, and my old air fryer is like this too. It doesn't have a handle underneath and it's really tough to pick up. So that was really well thought out, really great idea for this. It makes it so much easier to move the air fryer around. For the other features of the air fryer, what's really great is it has, not only does it have a top vent here, but it also has a vent in the back, so that's really great. Doesn't accumulate a lot of smoke when you're actually cooking. And this is one of my favorite features about this. You guys know that sometimes you have a cord for some kind of device and it's just, there's nowhere to put it. There's nowhere to wrap it. There's nowhere to hang it. It's just kind of like lying around and you're trying to make it neat. Tastee, y'all thought of this really well. I love that I can just put the cord into the outlet, just hide it. This is genius. So simple, but I love that they did this for this air fryer. Another really cool feature about this air fryer is not only does it come with all these presets for cooking meat, and I'll show you guys soon all the presets that are on this air fryer, but it also comes with a really great app. This app was so easy to install, to set up an account for, and what's really cool is it has all these recipes. For example, let's say I wanna make a carnivore steak. It not only shows you what the actual steak is gonna look like, which is, you know, it looks delicious on here. But what it tells you is it tells you if it's easy, if it's medium, if it's hard level, how many people it serves, how much time it's gonna take you. It shows you all of the ingredients and all of the instructions. And the coolest part is not only does it just show you how to actually prepare different kinds of dishes, but you can set it to cook and it will connect to your air fryer and make all the settings for you. You don't have to read this and then try to click around. If you just want to do it super easy, you say set to cook and it sets the air fryer. So I'll show you guys how that's gonna work in one of the recipes that we're making. Like I mentioned before, the coolest thing about this air fryer is all the presets. And the best part is it comes with an actual meat probe. Take a look at this. It magnetically attaches just to the air fryer, and all you need to do is just take it off, take it out, and we're gonna be using this today, so I'll show you guys exactly how to use this, but you'll just stick this into the meat and you can cook it. It will tell you on the app and on the air fryer when it is at the correct temperature that you're trying to cook your meat to. That is just such a cool feature, and that's what really excites me about this air fryer. Now I wanna show you guys some of the presets that are on this air fryer itself. So first of all, the touch sensitivity of this screen that's on top of the air fryer is really great, and I'm really impressed with how it works. So you just turn it on and look, we have different kinds of meat settings here. So we have steak, fish, chicken, pork, and you can even cook fries in this. Of course, we're keto here, so we're not gonna be cooking potato fries, but I would definitely use this to make different kinds of keto-friendly fries. In addition to all the types of meat that you have, there's an air fry setting, a slow cook setting, and a dehydrate setting. When's the last time you've seen an air fryer that has this many features? I mean, you can actually slow cook a brisket in here. It is so cool. I'm definitely gonna be making a video of that in the future. And dehydrate, so you can make like beef jerky or chicken jerky, or you can dehydrate different kinds of fruits or vegetables to make chips out of them. That is so, so cool. And I haven't seen that on any air fryer of this size anywhere. The last feature I'm gonna talk about before we actually head to cooking is this light feature. So look how cool this is. You just press the light and you can actually see what you're cooking in the air fryer. That is so, so cool. So you don't have to open the air fryer, let heat escape. This just makes it so much easier so you can actually visualize if what you're cooking is ready. But since we have this meat probe, I'm gonna trust this meat probe to tell me when my meat is ready. If you're interested in purchasing this air fryer, make sure to use my discount code for 30% off your order. I'll put the discount code and the link in my description below. It is LEAH30, L-E-A-H 30 for 30% off your order. For this video, we're gonna be making 3 easy meals right in this air fryer using the meat probe. The first one we're gonna do is a ribeye. And I just wanna preface by saying I love cooking steak and I love cooking pork at home, but one of the difficulties is getting the meat temperature just right, and you're standing over the stove or you're standing over the oven trying to make sure that it's cooked to the right temperature. And I'm hoping this air fryer really solves that problem for me, where the meat probe will tell me when it's ready. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cook this ribeye here. And I'm gonna use the presets that are on the app with a little bit of addition of some seasonings to cook this. So I have the ribeye. What I'm gonna do is I've pat this dry already, and I'm gonna season it with salt and pepper generously on both sides. We're just gonna be making this really simple, just salt and pepper. And let's season the other side. I've seasoned my steak with some salt and pepper, and I'm going a little bit based off of the recipe that is on the app itself. It is for the carnivore steak, but I'm gonna be adding a little bit more flavor, so I'm gonna add some thyme, rosemary, and garlic into here as well. What the actual app says is it says that it will take 20 to 35 minutes to cook this, and we just need butter, salt, and the ribeye, like I said. But like I said, we're adding more seasoning than it says on here. That's just a personal preference of mine of how I like to cook steak. And next it says for the instructions, it says to insert the probe parallel into the center of the steak. So I have the probe right here, and I'm inserting it into the center of the steak. I'm gonna put it here. We're just gonna stick it all the way in. You wanna make sure that it's not going down at an angle or up at an angle. And it says all this in the manual as well. So just in case you're completely new to how to use a meat probe, it tells you exactly how to use it and how to stick it into the meat to cook it. So I've put the meat probe in, and next thing it says to place the rack in the basket and put the steak on the rack. So I'm gonna take out my bin, and I'm gonna take the rack off first. I'm gonna add my extra seasonings that I'm using. Again, if you just wanna follow the recipe, just follow the recipe, but I wanna add a little bit more flair to my steak. So I'm gonna add rosemary at the bottom. I'm gonna add 2 cloves of garlic and some thyme. Okay, and you just leave those at the bottom. Then you take your rack, put it on top, and then we're gonna put our ribeye onto the rack. Now we're gonna put our tray back into the air fryer. So I have the meat probe here. I'm just gonna plug it in right there. All right, and we're just gonna stick this basket back into the air fryer. See, closes perfectly. Absolutely love that. All right, and now we can either press set to cook on the app itself right here, and it'll do all the presets for you, or you can manually do it on the air fryer itself. So what I'm gonna do is for this one, I'm gonna do set to cook. Okay, and what happens next is it asks you how you want your steak cooked. So it tells you what the internal temperature will be and how you want it cooked. I like my ribeyes medium, so I'm gonna cook it to medium. And all I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna press cook now. It's sending the recipe to the air fryer. It's turned on itself. And now it says, please press the play pause button on the Tastee appliance. And now it is cooking. The air fryer has started. It says that the current temperature of the steak is 54 degrees Fahrenheit and our timer has started. The app is gonna tell me when this is finished, and it sets this timer and tells you the temperature with the meat probe, whether you use the app or not. Just by having the app on your phone and the device itself, it'll tell you when everything is ready. You can also have notifications on, so if you just wanna use your phone and not be staring at the app itself, it will just notify you when the steak is done, which just makes it so much easier. You can set your steak, this is an easy lunch or dinner, walk away, and then it'll tell you when to come back. So I will see you guys at the very end when the app tells me that our steak is done. All right, my app has told me that it's ready, and it adjusted the time, and I could hear it adjusting the temperature as it was cooking to make sure it wasn't overcooking the steak. So it says that it's ready now. I'm gonna take this out, and it says that you can, oh my God, guys, look at this. This is so crazy. It looks absolutely perfect. I'm just gonna take a tablespoon of butter, put it on top, let the residual heat melt the butter. That's what it says per the instructions. I'm gonna take the meat probe out, just unplug it from the air fryer. And now I'm gonna take this out, take out my steak. Okay, and just put this on my cutting board here. Let's carefully take out the meat probe. Be careful, it will be hot, so grab onto this so that you don't burn yourself by accident. Now let's cut into the steak to see how it looks. Again, we were trying to cook it to medium. I'm just gonna cut halfway. That is a perfect medium. I mean, take a look at that. Completely cooked through. Let's cut another piece to see if it's like that throughout the whole steak. And it is. And now, most importantly, we're gonna do a taste test of this, see how it turned out. I mean, it is a perfect medium, so let's give it a go. That cooked absolutely perfectly. I mean, the meat is so soft, it's so tender. You wouldn't even know that you cooked this in an air fryer. I am beyond impressed. I mean, flavor-wise, of course, it's how you season it, but just take a look at this. I mean, it is perfectly medium, absolutely delicious. And some, you know, I've cooked steak in the air fryer before, especially my old air fryer. I've tried it. It makes the meat really dry sometimes, but because of this and the meat probe, like I told you, I could hear it turning off the heat, turning on the heat. It adjusted the cook time. It didn't just cook for 20 minutes and that's it. It adjusted the time based on the thickness of the steak and the temperature inside. This is perfect. And I'm so excited to move on to the next two dishes so that we can test it out with a New York strip and with a pork chop to see if it does the same thing with those two cuts of meat. Moving on to our next cut of steak, I'm gonna be using a New York strip for this. The reason I'm using a New York strip is because it is a less fatty meat. So I wanna see how the meat probe and this air fryer do with this cut of steak. So I just have my New York strip in front of me here. I'm gonna season it with salt and pepper. We're just doing the same seasoning that we did for the other one, because I wanna choose something basic. I wanna see how this meat really turns out. All right, taking out the tray now. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna put my thyme, my rosemary, and my garlic at the bottom again. And you could tell in the ribeye as well, I could tell the flavor, and it didn't burn the garlic, didn't burn anything. It just gave it a really nice flavor. which was super, super exciting. Now I'm gonna put the probe into the meat. All right, and we're gonna put it into a thick part here. I'm gonna use this part right here. We're gonna put the cooking rack into our air fryer tray. We're gonna close the tray, take our meat probe, plug it in. And for this one, I am gonna be doing the settings myself and not from the app. Now I'm gonna set the settings myself on our air fryer. So I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna press steak, and it's already selected on New York strip, so that's perfect. We're gonna press OK. And now it's asking me how I want my steak cooked. So I want my steak cooked medium rare. So that's what it's set to. And now all we have to do is press play. All right, it tells me my internal temperature right now is 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's gonna take approximately 15 minutes. But like with the other ribeye, it's gonna sense how thick my steak is, when the temperature is correct, and when it's cooked to medium rare. I'm also gonna open the app on my phone, and as you can see right here, it tells me that my air fryer is cooking and it says steak. If I press on it, I can check from my phone how far along I am in cooking my steak in this air fryer. I'm just gonna let this air fryer cook, and I will see you guys after the steak is done. My app has told me that the steak is ready. I've heard it beep. Let's take it out and take a look. Looks just as perfect as the last one too. Look how juicy it is. I mean, I haven't even put butter on this yet, and it's already super juicy. I'm gonna take some butter though, put it on, close the air fryer back in, and let the butter just melt for a minute before I take it out. All right, our butter is nice and melted here. I'm just gonna unplug the probe, and let's take out our steak. I'm gonna carefully take out the probe. And unlike the last one where we cooked it to medium, this one we cooked to medium rare. Let's cut into it and take a look, see how it cooked. That is absolutely perfect. Just like the last one too. Let's do a taste test here. I'm so impressed so far by this air fryer. It cooks the meat perfectly to temperature, and it keeps the meat so juicy. Like I said before, the air fryer tends to dry anything that you cook out just a little bit. But with this steak, I'm so impressed with just how perfectly it cooked. It makes, when you're on carnivore or keto, so much easier. You don't have to stand over the stove to watch it. And I'm definitely gonna be continuing to do this with the steaks, but now let's move on to our pork chop and see how it cooks that. For our last carnivore recipe, we are going to be using a boneless pork chop. So I just took a boneless pork loin and I cut it into pieces. That's just a little hack for the cheap way to get pork chops. So I have my pork chop here. I'm gonna season this one differently. I'm gonna season with salt and pepper, as well as some garlic powder and smoked paprika. And we're gonna do this to both sides. I'm excited to see with this pork chop how it cooks, because pork tends to be a little bit on the drier side. So I'm really excited to see if this is gonna dry out the pork more or if it keeps it nice and juicy. Putting some garlic powder on, paprika, and just season everything really well. Of course, you can also do for pork chops, you can season overnight. But this is like if you're, you just come home, you're not really sure what you want to eat, you decided you wanted a pork chop. This is a perfect way to season it that doesn't require any marination, that will give it really good flavor. Let's take out our air fryer tray. And for this one, I'm not gonna be using the rack. I'm just gonna be using the tray itself. What we're gonna do is take our meat probe and we are just gonna put it into the pork chop. like so. Put it into our tray. Close the tray. All right, and stick the meat probe into the air fryer. All right, so for this one, we're going to turn it on, press pork. It is selected on chop, and we're just going to press play. So right now it tells me my internal temperature is 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's gonna cook for about 15 minutes. So I will see you guys when the app tells me it's done. The air fryer just told me to flip the pork chop, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Flip it over and throw it back in to finish cooking. Our pork chop is ready. Let's unplug the probe. Take it out. Looks really, really good. Super juicy. I mean, it's dripping in juice. I didn't add any butter to this, nothing like that. All right, I'm going to take my probe out. And let's cut into this pork chop. I mean, that is perfectly cooked and it looks super, super juicy. I mean, I can literally see juice coming out of it. Let's cut a little piece here. Give it a taste test. Not dry at all, at all. Super, super juicy. I am honestly really, really impressed. I'm impressed by even the flip. It knew the temperature and it told me when to flip. It didn't just flip like halfway through or anything like that. It flipped. It told me to flip when the temperature was perfect to cook on the other side. And there you have it, 3 super easy carnivore keto recipes that you can make at home for lunch, for dinner, that completely take out the stress of cooking. No more standing over the stove, turning on the oven, cooking the steak, cooking your pork. This also cooks fish and chicken and fries, like I said before, as well as anything else you want to air fry. The presets are the steak, the pork, chicken, fish, and fries. But like I said, everything else you can do manually. You can dehydrate, you can air fry, you can slow cook. I am super, super impressed with this air fryer. It made a ribeye, a New York strip, and a pork chop like we made in this video cook perfectly, not dry at all, super juicy. And these, like I said, if you're on a keto or carnivore diet, you can use this air fryer to make these simple recipes right at home in no time. Thank you again so much to Tastee for collaborating with me on this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Also, hit that notification bell to never miss a Tastee upload. Till next time.